Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're plunging into a sector that's, well, it's not just growing, it's exploding. The information technology industry in India.
That's right.
It's become this global powerhouse, and we're going to try and give you a shortcut today. Understand its huge scale, the hottest jobs, and what it actually takes to be part of it all.
Yeah, our mission really is to pull out the most important bits of information from, well, a whole stack of sources, give you a clear picture, because this is an industry with, rapid growth, some surprising opportunities, but also, some unique challenges too.
So you should walk away pretty well-informed, understanding the why behind it all.
Exactly. Not just the headlines.
Okay, so let's unpack this. The numbers, honestly, are pretty staggering.
They really are.
We're talking about an IT industry in India that hit, US $227 billion in revenue back in FY22.
Yep, with a 15.5% year-over-year growth, which is huge.
And it was expected to reach US $245 billion in FY23. Looking further out, the software product part alone, they think that could hit US $100 billion in 2025.
That's the projection. And the whole sector is expected to go past the U.S. $350 billion mark by 2026.
Wow.
And eventually it could be contributing something like a full 10% to India's GDP.
10%? That's massive.
It really puts the scale into perspective, doesn't it? But what's really fascinating here, I think, isn't just the raw numbers, it's what they represent.
Right.
I mean, that U.S. $227 billion in FY22. To put that in perspective, that's roughly the GDP of, say, Finland or Greece.
Okay, yeah.
And that 15.5% growth, that's not just a number. It shows India really becoming, the world's digital backbone.
The biggest exporter of IT services globally, right?
Exactly. They grossed U.S. $194 billion in IT exports for FY23. And the estimate for FY24 is around U.S. $199 billion.
So this is about international investment, expanding their reach.
Absolutely. Boosting delivery centers worldwide, and even in niche areas like the annotation business. For AI and stuff. 60% of India's U.S. $250 million revenue in that field back in FY20 came from the U.S. And with AI booming, that specific market in India could hit U.S. $7 billion by 2030.
$7 billion just for annotation. Incredible. So these figures paint this picture of an industry just absolutely on fire.
Yeah.
But what does that mean for individuals listening? For my career, does this boom really mean accessible opportunities?
That's the key question, isn't it? And the answer is a definite yes. It absolutely translates into opportunity.
Okay.
This boom means incredibly high demand for IT professionals. And on average, they're earning double the salary of other jobs in India.
Double. Okay. So which jobs are really leading the charge then?
Well, the core areas driving demand are cybersecurity, which makes sense, right? Everyone needs security.
Absolutely.
And data science, turning all that data into actual strategies. And cloud computing, which is, the backbone of almost everything digital now.
Right, the infrastructure.
Exactly. These are just tech skills anymore. They're like fundamental business enablers. That's why they're so valuable.
And that means clear career paths.
Yeah, clear path through things like getting certifications, networking, and, smart job hunting.
Okay, now this is where it gets really interesting for a lot of people. Let's talk specifics. What do our sources say about the highest paying computer science jobs in India, say, for 2025?
All right, so topping the list seems to be the software architect.
Okay.
Average annual salary around INR 30 lakh. And just for context, a lakh is 100,000 rupees, so 3 million rupees.
That's significant. And they design the whole system structure.
Exactly. They're crucial for the big picture of complex software. That's why they command that salary.
Makes sense. What else?
Then you have IT project managers. They average around INR 12 to 15 lakh annually in India. But here's the interesting bit. Globally, their skills are even more valued. Salaries can jump to like INR 75 lakh in the U.S. Yeah, INR 54 lakh in Canada, INR 60 lakh in the U.K.
Okay.
Big companies like HCL Tech, Honeywell, Tech Mahindra, Capgemini, Infosys, they're all hiring for this role, often for global projects.
And it's not just the super technical roles, is it? I remember seeing something about business analysts.
You're spot on. The e-commerce business analyst. That role pulls in an average of INR 13 lakh a year.
Right. Focusing on performance, user experience.
Precisely. In the massive e-commerce sector. And top recruiters there. Think Accenture, Deloitte, Cognizant, Capgemini, TCS.
Got it. And you mentioned data science, machine learning, cloud computing earlier. Those are consistently high demand.
Consistently. Salaries there typically range from, say, INR 10 to 20 lakh.
And which companies are known for paying top dollar?
Well, the usual suspects, maybe. Google India, Microsoft India, Amazon India,
Okay.
but also Goldman Sachs India, Adobe India, Flipkart, Oracle India, Atlassian, Uber India, PayPal India, lots of big names.
And for fresh graduates out of
Yeah.
computer science programs.
For them, Google, Microsoft, Amazon are often the top choices, offering salaries, depending on the role and experience, maybe between INR 20 to 40 lakh. Plus, really good growth opportunities.
Okay, so if you're listening and thinking, right, I want in, or maybe I want to advance, what's the toolkit look like? What skills, what qualifications do you really need?
Good question. It does vary by role, obviously, but a strong foundation usually includes being pretty good with programming languages. Java, Python, C++, add JavaScript, the core ones.
Right.
But it's not just coding. Strong problem-solving skills are crucial.
Always.
Knowledge of databases like SQL or maybe NoSQL. Expertise in cloud platforms, AWS, Azure, Google Cloud are the big three. And definitely an understanding of networking and cybersecurity basics. But, and this is really key, don't overlook the soft skills.
Communication, teamwork.
Exactly. Adaptability too. Technology is about people and collaboration,
Yeah.
just as much as it's about the tech itself. These are vital in pretty much any IT role.
And qualifications.
Yeah.
Is a degree essential?
Generally, yes. Most positions ask for at least a bachelor's degree, usually in computer science, IT, software engineering, or something closely related.
Okay.
But beyond the degree, certifications can really make a difference. And online courses in specific hot areas like cloud or cyber, they boost your employability significantly.
And how do you get started? Break in.
Best way, get hands-on experience. Internships are great. Entry-level jobs. Build a portfolio too. Work on personal projects, contribute to open source maybe.
Show what you can do.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And just keep learning. New tools, best practices. This field changes constantly. You mentioned Python earlier. Sources often cite it as like the best language for computer science right now.
Because it's used everywhere. Data science, AI.
Yeah, data science, AI, automation. It's incredibly versatile, so definitely worth learning.
That actually brings up a good point. We've talked a lot about the applications, the jobs. But maybe we should zoom in for a second on the core discipline itself, computer engineering.
Good idea. It underpins so much of this.
Yeah, what is computer engineering, fundamentally?
Well, it's a specialized branch of engineering, right? Focused on developing both computer hardware and software.
So it bridges electrical engineering, electronics, computer science.
Exactly. It integrates all those fields.
Yeah.
Fun fact, the very first computer engineering degree program in the U.S. was apparently established back in 1971.
Wow. Okay. Case Western Reserve University.
That's the one. So these engineers, computer engineers, they're really at the heart of innovation, designing everything from tiny microcontrollers and microprocessors.
Up to supercomputers.
Yep, and complex circuit designs.
Yeah.
The whole spectrum. Which raises an interesting question.
Yeah.
What are some of the really cool specialty areas within computer engineering that are shaping things now, and where India's talent is playing a bigger role?
Yeah, tell us more. What are those specialties?
Okay, so one big area is embedded systems.
Right, the computers inside everything else.
Exactly. Engineers here design tech to make systems faster, more reliable, perform better. You find them everywhere. Small FM radios, cars, even the space shuttle.
And ongoing stuff includes like automated vehicle.
Yeah, automated vehicles, human-robot coordination. With India's manufacturing and auto sectors growing, this is super critical there.
Okay, what else?
Then there's computer vision and robotics. This is about developing visual sensing tech, letting machines see and understand their environment.
So they can interact with it.
Precisely. It leads to advances in things like human modeling, image communication, new ways for us to interact with computers, and India's AI research hubs are definitely active here.
Makes sense. Any others?
One more really cutting-edge one, quantum computing.
Ah, the next frontier.
Pretty much. It integrates quantum mechanics, how tiny particles behave, with classical computing. The goal is to solve really complex problems much faster than we can now.
Impacting things like cryptography?
Yeah, quantum cryptography is one area. It's still emerging, of course, but Indian universities and tech companies are starting to invest in the research and talent needed for it.
Okay, so far, this sounds almost too good to be true. Phenomenal growth, high salaries, global impact.
There's always a but, isn't there?
Seems like it. So while the opportunities are obviously huge, the Indian IT sector must face some challenges too. Headwinds.
Absolutely.
One big one seems to be automation and AI. Tools like ChatGPT, Gemini, Copilot, they can automate a lot of coding tasks now.
Yeah, that's a major concern, and it's a really critical point of discussion right now.
Is everyone agreeing on how bad it will be? Or are there different views?
Well, the data certainly highlights the concern. Our sources point to over 500,000 tech employees laid off globally between 2022 and April 2024.
Wow.
And research suggests AI could impact maybe up to 30% of jobs in fields like writing, coding, imaging. Now, for India specifically, remember, it handles a massive chunk, like 65% of global IT offshore work.
Right.
Some projections suggest that maybe 69% of formal employment there could be automated by 2030.
69%, that's huge.
It is. Now, some see this as, an existential threat. Others view it more as a shift. The types of skills needed will change.
So adapting is key. Focusing on human creativity, problem solving.
Exactly. Strategic thinking. Things AI, at least for now, can't replicate easily. Moving away from purely repetitive tasks, it requires a big shift in mindset.
Definitely. What about other challenges internally? I heard about high attrition rates, lots of resignations.
Yeah, that's another significant issue. High attrition, the Great Resignation phenomenon hit IT too. It's partly due to intense competition for talent, sure, but also maybe reflects a rapidly changing work environment expectations.
And there were some ethical concerns mentioned in our sources too.
Yes, unfortunately. Two specific controversies kind of stand out. Firstly, there's the issue of fake experience certificates.
People faking their resumes to get jobs?
Essentially, yes. Sometimes supplied by shady consultancies, apparently more common in tech hubs like Hyderabad and Bangalore. It's driven by that intense job competition we talked about.
How's the industry tackling that?
They're trying more rigorous skill-based testing, promoting internal talent development, trying to build more trust in hiring.
Okay. And the second issue?
The second one is probably more widely known outside India. Technical support scams.
Ah, the fraudulent call center?
Exactly. A study back in 2017 traced something like 85% of these geolocated scams back to India, operating mainly out of cities like Kolkata, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Mumbai, defrauding people worldwide.
That's a serious problem. Are they cracking down?
Thankfully, yes.
Yeah.
Law enforcement in India and internationally are collaborating much more actively now to address these illegal operations. It's an ongoing fight.
Wow, what a deep dive that was. We've really covered a lot of ground. From the just immense economic impact of India's IT sector.
Billions and billions.
To the specific jobs driving that growth, the skills you actually need, and yeah, touching on some of the pretty complex challenges it's facing too.
It's definitely dynamic. Utterly fascinating.
For sure.
And it's clear, isn't it? The IT sector in India, it's a place of incredible opportunity. But it absolutely demands constant learning, constant adaptation.
No resting on your laurels.
Not at all. So thinking about this dynamic landscape, especially with AI and automation becoming more and more prominent, maybe the question for you listening is, how might your approach to your own career development need to shift? How can you really thrive in the IT world of tomorrow? What new skill or maybe what new perspective will you need to cultivate to stay ahead of that curve?